Okay, so now we're into the second part of our week 1 lecture about this class. And so now that you've learned how to take notes, now you're going to actually take notes. So I'll switch over to my student view in Firefox and pull up. And by the way, just because it's good to remember, when you log in, if you have logged out since the first one, when you come into here, you find 82. And then in here you open your private one. And then in here you go to lectures. And then you click on here. And that shows you the preview, the rendered. And then you hit the pencil to come back in. Okay? All right. So now what I want you to do here, week 1 lecture. And then we'll do £2, 2 for about CIT82. So now one thing about doing this is one of the features you miss in a traditional web or word processing is autosave. So just keep that in mind, right? So that as you're working, you can come down here and save as often as you'll want. I will, of course, have you save at the end. And then what you want to do here is bullet points. And I just want you to get major topics of what I'm going to cover about this class. So I'm not going to come back over here and tell you. You just need to come back and where you feel like that's a major topic that you've at least noted that. And remember, you can either do one like that, or you can do like I showed you here, or you can do this. Let me just, it's a dash, and just to preview what that looks like, right? So you can use whatever styling of note taking you like. These two are obviously the same, and you can see that, and this happened before until I saved it, it was still showing what was up there. Now I understand why, which by the way, the actual red makes, there's a significance to the red, so this could go in your notes. Right here is we haven't committed this yet, and the green means these are new changes, right? So you'll see this as we move later into the editor. So looking at our course, as I've said before, in the past, I had used Google Docs in order for students to take notes, but I really feel like it's time to change this class up to give students even more experience in learning how to use GitHub, and now you're going to learn Markdown in this class, you're going to learn HTML in this class, you're going to learn some CSS in this class, you're going to learn Bootstrap, and I'll go over those in a minute what those mean. But just to kind of put this class in context, I'm going to move over to the website for Fresno City College, and I'm inside of the business education, which is the area I teach, specifically computers. And more specifically, I teach in the web development program. So there is a web development degree and there's a web development certificate if you'd like to check those out. So let me just show you the degree path. Well, it should have been in here. Wasn't that nice? Let's see if we can find it here. Here we go, web development. Here is the AS degree, right? So hopefully you have taken 15, and now you're on to taking 82. And 28 client-server databases is taught on campus. But just to let you know, 82, this class you're taking right now is a 9-week, 3-unit course. And the next course that we've sequenced is creating websites. That class is also taught online by Todd McLeod next semester. So generally students are enrolled in 82 and 85, which knocks out 2 requirements and 3 if you've already had 15. Okay, and this semester I'm teaching 93, which is JavaScript, and then next semester I'm teaching Node.js. And then I believe 90 data-driven websites actually might be taught online. I'm not sure. Todd McLeod would know that more than I would. So that's the degree path. And then if you're looking for maybe something a little more shorter, then you'd be looking at the certificate. So let me go back to that and just show you what is involved in that. So certificates for web developer. So again, it moves me back here. I guess I could have found it before. Oh, yeah, that's right. These are probably different because they're certificates. That's right. So web page, web developer certificate. Oh, that's actually the degree. Sorry about that. So it's probably here. Web page. Oh, that one's wrong. It's always interesting. Oh, here it is, right? Oh, it is. It is right. It was just listed lower. So the 82 that you're taking now, the 85 that hopefully you're taking after this and this semester is in the back 9, and then 93 that I'm teaching right now. So there may be a few students that are taking 82 and 93 at the same time. Depending on who you are and how much time you have, that may or may not be a great idea. It is hoped that you have some HTML and CSS before you take 93, but you definitely get those core concepts here in 82 and 85. Okay, so just to give you the career path, the degree path for this as well. So, if you're interested in that and you want to know more, please let me know. So let's just quickly go up and look at the syllabus for this course. So the other thing I want you to put in your notes is I'm changing this course this semester to reflect what I see as some of the things we need to make sure we've included. But the structure of the grading will still be the same. 25% for your lectures, and you'll have 15, and there'll be one major project, and this is where you're actually going to build a website. And you're going to build it in a technology called Bootstrap. And we will learn Bootstrap, I think, starting in week 3 or 4. So you learn HTML, right? You learn CSS, which is the core concepts of the web. And then you learn Bootstrap. And Bootstrap basically is a framework that makes creating responsive. And what does that mean, responsive? That means when you are on the site and it responds to the different viewports. What does that mean? It's like right now I'm looking at this website in a browser, right? So one thing I could do is I could hit inspect, and I could come over here and I could say, show me what this looks like, maybe on a Pixel 2, right? So I think I have to refresh. Yeah, so this site, you can tell it's responsive some, but not a lot, right? So and meaning it should show the whole thing, but at least you don't have far to go to look at this, right? So this is somewhat responsive and we build websites through the idea of this viewport and other technologies to make things respond. Okay, and by the way, what I've dropped into here is called the developer tools, and the developer tools is something built into Chrome and also built into Firefox that you will learn how to understand because this is rendered HTML, CSS, and other things that we don't see. And this shows you the HTML, right? And again, we haven't gotten, depending on how much experience you have here. Let me grab this down, right? So this is the HTML, right? Here's some of the styles of the event listener, something you'll learn about if you take JavaScript, which I hope to see you in that class. And then here is the console, right? So one of the technologies this class doesn't cover is JavaScript. But JavaScript is the programming language of the browser. And now it's actually the server as well. That's the 94 that you would hopefully be taking as well if you're getting the degree here. But anyway, I digress a little bit. Just to tell you kind of contextually where we're at as far as this class. So you will have lectures, you will have a project that you will do, and the project is, as you can see, one project at the end of the semester. It's building out, I think, a 15-page site. Don't get freaked out. You actually don't have to write the content from scratch. There's a little bit of content you write, but most of what you do here is you just glean items from what you're already doing with lectures and hands-on and current topics. Okay? So just know that that project is way important, and it's not necessarily about writing, but it's about learning how to build something with some basic HTML, CSS, and Bootstrap. And in addition to Bootstrap, we're going to end up using a template that is based on Bootstrap, making this hopefully even a little easier. Okay? So that's what that is. And then hands-on is the idea of each week we have a hands-on experience, and then we have a current topics experience. So you can see how many items and how much each one is worth. I do accept late work. It is discounted 25%. Make sure that goes in your notes. So, but that's the general gist of and you can email me. I prefer to email through Canvas. My office hours aren't loaded up yet, but I will do that soon. You can see the policies. It's good to look through here, the drop date. Now, remember, and I've said this before 3 or 4 times, but I'm going to say it again. This is a 9-week, 3-unit class. So as you can see here, we're working on the 82 about CIT82, okay? And then next week, not sure why that's Tuesday. I wonder if I have to check that because if there's a holiday, but I don't think it's there, but I will check that. Should be Monday because normally it's Monday and Thursday are the due dates for our items. But then, so you have 2 due dates a week, generally Monday and Thursday. And then there's 3 items for each one. And those 3 items compose of a lecture, a hands-on, and a current topics. Okay, actually this is the lecture. I'll need to reorder those. And they're all due at midnight. So here's the thing I want you to know. I put things due at midnight, but I grade them the next morning. And I grade typically, I try to grade every day, but if not, for sure on the days after something's due. So for sure Wednesday morning, my goal is to wake up and grade, or Tuesday morning, and then Thursday or Friday morning I wake up and grade. But I will also grade if my schedule allows. I have a little bit of a different schedule this semester, but I really try to grade every day. Now, what's the benefit of that to you? The benefit of that to you is that if you're submitting something and you've done all the work and it's ready to be graded, and I'll talk about what that means in a minute, then I will grade it, and then you can still fix what you've not completed or missed and resubmit it before the due date. Now this only works if you're doing the work 24 hours ahead of the due date, because doing something at 5 o'clock in the afternoon the day something's due and wondering if I'm going to grade it, it's not going to happen. So if you want this benefit of working ahead, you need to do at least 24 hours ahead of time. And again, that's if something doesn't happen in my schedule that doesn't allow me to grade the next day, but I'm telling you my intention, and you can ask past students if you know any, is to grade every day. Okay, so I was looking at week 2 here, but the idea, you can even see this in week 1 as we're in here now. So that's just generally the way the class works. You can see that if I scroll forward, this class will end here on October 11th. So that's when the project 0 will be due. And but these, I'm just going to tell you, these topics as they're laid out are going to change because I'm changing which lectures I'm using in lynda.com, and I'm going to add some YouTube lectures that I think do a better job. So I'm going to be changing up this content for this semester. Okay? All right, so let's see, I've talked about the syllabus, the way the class is logged out. I will also each week do an attendance post, and I'll do probably on each week I'll give an overview of what that week is going to cover. Now this week I'll have a video for this one and this one and this one, but in the coming weeks what you may see is something like this, which is a start here, which will give you an overview of what those items, how you need to complete them. So you'll see that coming in the future as we get rolling into the regular semester. So we are going to be working, as I've already shown, on GitHub to take notes and to follow along with some of the lectures that are a little more learning how to use HTML and CSS as we move forward. But I will tell you, just a heads up now, we're going to end up moving this GitHub to your local system, and you'll see this in the following weeks. But I will say that we'll be using a full-blown editor to write code in the near future in this class. And I'll just give you the heads up that I will be using VS Code. VS Code is a free program, not VS Code Ignore. That's something we'll get later. VS Code is a free editor from Microsoft. It works on all major operating systems. So if you want to take a look at that now, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, we will have a hands-on out soon where you actually download this. And this is what we'll use to write code, and then we'll use GitHub. You'll learn some command line. If you don't know command line, that's where instead of using, because this is a graphical user interface, we're going to use a command line interface. So as an example, I could pull up, for me on my Mac, I could pull up terminal and I could issue commands. Like if you're used to Windows, you might recognize that command, but that's actually a Windows specific command. And when we use command line, we use Unix commands. And so ls would be a list of files, and then pwd would be like what directory am I in. So these are the kind of change directory to a change or make directory. So you might think it looks kind of old compared to the graphical user interface, but it's very powerful and very necessary for you to learn some command line, and you will get that through this class as well. Okay, so that's looking forward for what you need to do. I've talked about attendance. Attendance is one of those things that I need to do it because I have to report for the campus. And if you miss a couple of weeks of doing attendance on a short-term class, that is kind of a flag for me. But more important, honestly, is actually completing the work. Okay? So the most important thing is to stay on top of this work, because there is so much that happens so quickly in a 9-week class that if getting a week behind, even though I offer late work, so make sure you have that idea that I do accept late work, it is discounted 25%. But even that I almost don't do that because I don't want that to enable you, but I also want to give you a chance to get caught up, but I want to give you a warning that getting a week or two behind in this class can hurt. And that's, not cool, not helpful to you. And the other thing is, if you're struggling with something, I want you to come see me. It's way important that you don't, and the other thing is, that's the reason I have class chat, right? So I've set up class chat. I've given you a link in here to join. I highly recommend you do that. You do need to have a Gmail account for that, but I've noticed these days most students do, so that's not typically a problem. Okay? All right, so what I'm going to do is actually now show you how. You're going to see a little behind the because this is about all I wanted to cover for this topic right now. And so what I'm going to do is go ahead and release this week. Oh yeah, this is it. This is your Thursday night item. So I'm going to show you actually how to submit this work. And in order to do that, what I have to do is make it available. So that's why this is stuff you don't see. So like now that I've done that, if you happen to be online, look at that, it made everything available. And all I want to make available here, because I'll work on these two next, is about this. So let me show you what you do. You go into here, and then I'm going to switch. I'm going to switch to the student view. Okay, so by the way, you notice that week 1, I will make that available the first day of the semester, right? So that you will have just to hit a simple reply to that. Attendance does not count towards your grade. So if you had some notes up there, please go modify them to add that attendance doesn't count towards your grade. It's just an indicator to me if you're keeping up with the class. Okay, so 82. So in here you have all the stuff we've done, and now we've done, so you have 2 videos, so each step, or you could just even name it, give it whatever name you want. Those should be your heading 1s, and then within there should be the concepts that I've covered. So that's what I will look for in your notes, is did you cover all the major concepts? Okay, so now let me show you. Submit the work. So what you're going to do is you're going to submit a web URL, and you might wonder, well, where do I do that from? Well, let me switch over here. Now, I haven't taken all the notes, but I'm just giving you the idea right here. So, update week 1 MD file, added, I didn't really, but added notes for video 2. I didn't, but that's just giving you an example, and then I commit the changes. Okay, so now what you need to do is you want to give me a link to this file. Okay, so let me just, I'm gonna go back to here just to browse, right? So notice how that is this directory right here, and we could come into lecture, right? And notice this would actually show me the file. So I'm pretty sure you could just come up here, And again, this I'm changing this so it's a little different. And while I'm doing is you could actually, let me show you another way to do this, is if you click tab into here, that actually selects the whole thing. Control C to copy. Okay. And then what you'd want to do here is Control V. And I believe, and I'll change this later if I find I need to have you modify, because this stuff might not need to go in there. And then you can give me any comments that if you had any additional questions or something else. But also that's where you could use class chat, or you can, and if you want to contact me directly, you would do that here. Okay? All right, so I think that's enough for this time. Hopefully that gives you an overview of the class, where this fits in the degree, what kind of stuff you're going to be doing, how to complete at least this part of the class. I will show you next in the other items this week how to do more markup, and I will also show you how to do print screens and how to share images here from GitHub. So you have a lot more to learn. Look forward to seeing you on that one. Take care.